And welcome back to this live studio audience edition of Hannity. We are now 3 days removed from the verdict, but irresponsible and outrageous rhetoric continues to emerge in the wake of the George Zimmerman acquittal. For example, a left-wing professor at the University of Pennsylvania recently wrote, quote, "God ain't good all the time. In fact, sometimes God is not for us." As a black woman in a nation that has taken too many pains to remind me that I am not a white man and not capable of taking care of my reproductive rights or my voting rights, I know that this American God ain't my God. As a matter of fact, I think he's a white racist God with a problem. Here with reaction to that and much more, two men who disagree about the outcome of this case: Fox News political analyst Juan Williams, radio talk show host, civil rights attorney Terrell. Juan, the jury has spoken. All the activists, they were able to get a special prosecutor. They bypassed the grand jury. They got a case. They got a judge. All the evidence presented and an acquittal happened. Why doesn't it just end here?
Because I think the verdict, Sean, really lacks a sense of wisdom or compassion for the fact of a dead child and the suffering that the parents and that community have gone through.
You don't like the verdict?
Oh, I like it. I mean, I respect it. I think that technically, I don't think the prosecutors proved that they met the bar for a second-degree murder. And so technically, what the ladies on the jury did was to say they didn't satisfy the charge, and therefore Zimmerman is not guilty. But I think that's someone who is operating on a very technical, limited level without a sense of, my God, there's a dead 17-year-old laying on the ground here, and he wasn't the one who brought the gun to the
I don't want to get into a big battle over this because I know tensions are really high. I'd like to see the president, the attorney general, maybe bring the country together. But that 17-year-old kid is no straddle MA, ground and pound style, according to witness. The only eyewitness, Juan, and also it was not put into evidence. He was involved in fighting. His text messages.
Wait a second. I believe that Zimmerman's the one who had martial arts training.
Well, Trayvon Martin had it on his phone.
Well, I don't know what he had, but I know that Zimmerman had been trained in this way, and I know that he had a gun, and I know that he was the one who initiated this confrontation by following this young man.
Did you hear
even after he was told not to, and then got out of the car?
Wait,
but all that is aside.
No. You forgot a main point here. The main point is that you forgot. Where is he now? The 911 operator said. So George Zimmerman went to look. And then when he said, I don't need you to do that, he was walking back to his car. All right, let me go to Leo. Leo, where do you stand on this?
Let me be very clear. Shame on you, Juan Williams. You're not a lawyer. Let me be clear. As a civil rights attorney, there was not a race case here at all, and the jury got it right. This is a wrong case for people like Juan. I don't want to mention those other stations, MSNBC, CNN, to use this as a racial division in this country. It is outrageous. That jury was absolutely correct as a lawyer. And I don't want to mention any names like Melissa Harris Perry telling people, I'm holding my black children tighter tonight. No, they're not. They're not at all. Because Zimmerman was tried. He was found innocent of these charges. And that woman who said God is a racist, it's embarrassing for me as an African American to hear it unless you're trying to hustle people to make money. I'm sick of this.
Well, I think that's so far off, I don't even know where to start. But what I said was...
Oh, sure, it's not far off.
I think that the verdict lacked any show of compassion or understanding for the fact of a dead child and the suffering of a mother.
You don't show compassion. It's not a question of compassion in a criminal courtroom.
I got to say that, you know, the reason that we have juries, the reason that we talk about having community people come in to be the final arbiters is because it's not simply about the technical aspect. It's not. We don't put this in a computer.
That's what it's all about, Sean. That's
but
let me just
hang on, Leo. Leo, hang on. You know, look, I was someone who thought that what happened, Leo, I was someone who thought the O.J. Simpson verdict was an absolute abomination.
Well, don't bring up O.J. here. This is not an O.J. case.
I'm just saying when I see.
Why are you bringing up O.J.?
Because I think that was a jury that made a mistake, Leo.
What? That's a Juan Williams. All you're doing is trying to bring up a case that does not have any relationship like the Trayvon Martin. You're just like Eric Jackson, Al Sharpton, Mr. Harris Perry.
Let me jump in, guys, for a second. I think what Leo is saying, and I'm a little shocked here, Leo. I don't think we've agreed a lot. But based on the law,
it's the first time. It might be the last.
The justifiable use of force law, the one eyewitness, Juan, ground and pound, and the injuries consistent with that, that is overwhelming, incontrovertible evidence. Based on the law, there was no other choice for this jury. You say, well, they needed to show compassion. Well, that's not the forum for this. They are ordered. They were given very specific instructions, Juan. You're asking them to do something they're not allowed to do.
No, here's the question. And I think the prosecution, as I said, did not reach the bar that said this is evidence of a second-degree murder conviction. I just don't think they did it. But so what I do think, Sean, is that if you take into account the fact that this man was stalking the young man and the fact that he is the one
he was not stalking.
Look, that's not even in dispute.
Yes, it is.
And then he's the one who has the gun.
Yes, it is.
And he's the one who gets out of the car. I think on all these, if the jury stopped and said, wait a second, that doesn't make sense.
All Juan Williams has demonstrated today is he does not know what he's talking about as far as what the purpose of a criminal justice system is all about. Here's the bottom line. George Zimmerman was found not guilty, and the evidence did not prove second-degree murder and manslaughter. Leave it alone at that. Don't use this as a race case. It's the wrong case to use as race. Juan Williams, MSNBC,
let me just say to you, I'm not using this as a race case. I'm using this as a case where I, as a dad, I don't care. I don't know if you have a child, Leo, but I know that Sean does.
That's not the issue.
Your child, let me just hold on, that if your child goes down to the store and comes back and some guy's following him, gets in a fight and shoots him, and they say, but your kid, once the fight started, your kid was beating him up or something. You say, this is the craziest thing I ever heard.
What case are you talking about? What case are you talking about? That's not the facts of the Zimmerman case. You just cut out all the facts. It just proved. Well, of course, because you want to make money on it. You want to play the race card.
Last question.
You are playing the race card.
Last question, Juan. I feel bad for the Martin family.
Yeah, I do.
But why did he punch George Zimmerman, straddle him, and beat him? Why did he do that?
It doesn't even matter, in my opinion.
You heard the
Once
screams
the fight
of terror.
starts, you don't know who's going to win. But let me just respond to you.
Juan,
if it matters, as you describe it, Sean, let's just say it matters who's winning the fight. Imagine that you're a 17-year-old boy. You're suddenly being followed by some guy for no reason. The guy then confronts you,
break his nose?
and you react angrily. Now, is that a reason for somebody to shoot and kill you?
Those aren't the facts.
Did you hear the screams of terror? It was screams of terror.
Sean, if he had just pulled out the gun, I think the kid would have backed away. Why he had to shoot and kill him, I don't know.
You don't know that. You're speculating.
That's speculation.
You are speculating, Juan Williams.
True.
All right, we got to go.
All they have to do is pull out the gun.
All right, everybody mark this date down in history because it'll never happen again. I agree.
First time and the last time.
All right.
Sean Hannity and I agree. First and last. Never again.
Yeah.
Never, ever.
Never, ever. All right, well, we'll see. You might get right again once in your life. If you do, I'll welcome you back. But
15 years from now.
All right, still ahead. I'll turn things over to our live